Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. Today we're talking about this Strange New Worlds episode called The Sehlat Who Ate Its Tail. This is based on a Vulcan idiom, kind of like a dog chasing his tail and catching it, kind of like the dog who chased cars who caught the car and didn't know what to do afterwards. That's where that originated. And the Sehlat itself was first mentioned in Journey to Babel in the original series, which was Spock's pet as a child. It was what his mother described as kind of a teddy bear, although this particular one was alive and had 3-inch fangs. Nevertheless, and of course that was developed in the animated series as how big this was and what kind of pet it was to Spock. But that really isn't what this episode is about. This episode is an origin story. Interestingly, this is where we take the starship Farragut, which is on a routine mission, and a explosion on a planet that they were surveying caused by this huge unidentifiable ship comes in, and then that, of course, the collateral damage is the Farragut itself. It's almost completely disabled and sends out a distress, which the Enterprise answers. And some of them beam aboard, and Kirk is the executive officer on this ship. The captain is injured and beamed back to the Enterprise, and so he is essentially in command for the first time, at least in a crisis situation. And how he is able to get out of it is one thing, but the personality that he has that made Kirk a special captain also comes out in this episode. The tendency to fly by the seat of his pants, to take risks, and to make use of intuition over logic, also to kind of deny the no-win scenario, which isn't really mentioned in this episode, but it's certainly alluded to. And it shows for the first time he and Spock working together, and that chemistry comes together just immediately when they are in a crisis situation. Kirk doesn't know what to do. Spock is there to basically say, trust yourself, and it works. So, a good episode on that level. We have Kirk on the Farragut working with Scotty, giving him impossible things to do, and forcing him to come up with some truly novel solutions to an unwinnable situation. Spock being the person to give just exactly the right kind of advice. Uhura, who shows herself to be rather useful at the helm, even though it's only her second time to actually be at the helm of a starship. She seems to do pretty well with that. Meanwhile, of course, the Enterprise, in trying to rescue, gets in trouble itself, and they're having to deal with this situation on their side, with Peli doing some things that benefit from her having lived 5,000 years already. And the solution was kind of silly, I think. I mean, stringing telephones from the 80s is not the silly part of it, but the silly part of it is that if they have to go to manual control of their thrusters, they have to actually stand with a joystick on either side of the ship. Is that really reasonable? When you know that you can't steer a starship blind, why isn't there some kind of manual override on the bridge rather than in a hallway somewhere? That was the one thing that bothered me about this. It gave much more for Ortegas to do, and to get, number one, more involved in all of this. And we also see some good advice that Pike gives to Kirk near the end of this. Once again, this is very a Kirk-centric story, and if there was any origin story that is believable, it's this one. I think that we see how the Kirk in Strange New Worlds becomes the Kirk in the original series and how his relationship with Spock develops in the original series. And I'm more interested now, since they have most of the characters together, is how they bring in Dr. McCoy and what they do with Dr. M'Benga. Dr. M'Benga was still on the ship during the original series, but not the chief surgeon, or rather the chief medical officer. And McCoy was brought in, and we don't know if that's because when Kirk became captain, McCoy was already a personal friend or something, and he put him in, but that seems to be unusual that you would demote somebody. And what we know about M'Benga so far would, if Pike, which has not said anything in any official reports about his knowledge of M'Benga killing the Klingon ambassador, if that were to come out, it would be more than just a demotion if that were the reason that he was. So they still have something for him to do in order to make that happen. Okay, so fine episode, fine acting. It's edge of your seat type of thing, and a very Star Trek type of villain. In the best of the original series, the villain was always somebody that had a reason to be the way that they were, and not necessarily just pure evil. There are no Darth Vaders in Star Trek. So what you have here is a ship full of people who, over some period of time, have kind of lost their humanity, and they're to be pitied rather than to be celebrated that they're all dead. But and this is something that creates kind of a moral pause in Kirk, and Pike has to come along, and being kind of the philosopher captain, he explains that as long as you see that any of your adversaries are not so much different than you are, that's how to be a good captain. So I'd like to know what you think about this. Please put it in the comments below. And meanwhile, we're looking at some of the news that's coming out on the new acquisition of Paramount by Skydance. And they've immediately let us know that they are behind Star Trek. There was all kinds of indications from the Las Vegas convention that there are a lot of pitches that are going up for shows, which, while none of those are in development or anything like that, give you an idea that somebody is hearing these pitches. And so they've obviously hit the ground running on this. And we know that they have 2 movies that are also already in development. One of them will be the 4th Kelvin movie. They're finally going to try to make that one with the Kelvin cast. And then they have another one which would have a completely different cast, get away from the Kirk, Spock, McCoy triumvirate there, and put it on, I don't know, another starship or whatever they have in mind. Now, of course, the only thing that is solid is Starfleet Academy, which is going to be coming up next year sometime, and I don't know about that. I have a problem. I had a problem with Deep Space Nine because it never went anywhere, and the thing with Starfleet Academy is they're probably not going to go anywhere either. They'll have something like a ship that they can, run out in the local sector with, but I don't know that that's going to have the same kind of impact. I hope it does. I do like to see Robert Picardo, and got to meet him once. He's a nice guy, and some of the other people that we have seen already in Discovery that we would see again, and that's something to be said for that. But and some of the pitches I kind of like too. I've seen they're an idea out there to put Captain Archer, who we know gets promoted to Admiral eventually, but also becomes President of the Federation, first President of the Federation. And their idea is to run a miniseries based on the trials and tribulations of getting a new government started. Now, they did something like that, of course, in Babylon 5. We've been going over that recently. And it'll be interesting if they want to treat it the same way or if they've got a new idea on that. So there's a lot going on right now, and what we know for certain is that the owners of Skydance, who are now the owners of Paramount, do have plans for Star Trek. They believe that it's the jewel in their crown, and they are going to try to put this together as much as possible. We don't know if Alex Kurtzman is going to be part of this. Some people would be happy about that. I find that he's done some good stuff, some not so good stuff, but generally speaking, is a competent fellow, and you never know who you're going to get next. But I don't know if Skydance wants to go with more action adventure, more fast-paced Star Wars type stuff, or what. But in the next couple of years, we're going to see what hatches out of what has happened in just the last few weeks. So thank you for joining us. We will be back next week with another Babylon 5. And of course, we'll be back with Talking Movies with Professor O. It'll be the Andromeda strain this time around. And then yet another episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So I hope that you'll join me for that. And until next time, don't go far.